I'll start by saying that it's difficult for most of us to build too much muscle. Guys will tell me they don't want to get too big and that they just want to look like a Greek statue. Well, regardless of gender, the reality for most is that it actually takes quite a bit of work to look like a Greek statue. And to get too big, meaning overly muscular, it takes even more work than that. Not only that, but as we age, our muscles tend to shrink or atrophy. This starts to happen when we get into our late 20s and then accelerates from there. So it seems like so much is actually working against us when it comes to trying to build muscle or even too much muscle. But incorporating any form of strength or resistance training is always a good idea, regardless of your aesthetic goals. That's because these types of exercises help strengthen our bones, which is super important, especially as we age. And luckily, the American College of Sports Medicine, also known as ACSM, has some recommendations for those that would like to incorporate resistance training, but more for overall health and fitness, as opposed to building all of that muscle. But before I get to that, I want to be sure I'm clear about the terms sets and reps. Reps is just an abbreviated version of the word repetition. Repetition or reps refer to how many times you repeat a movement. For example, how many times you lift a weight before putting it down. So let's imagine you're performing some resistance training. Imagine you're holding 20-pound dumbbells in each hand. You decide you want to perform some shoulder presses with those 20-pound dumbbells. So you lift the dumbbells so that you're holding each with your palms facing forward near your ears, the starting position for a shoulder press. Once you're set in this starting position, you then engage your shoulders and press your arms over your head to full extension. Then you bring the weight back down to the starting position near your ears. The act of pressing the weights over your head and bringing them back down to the starting position would count as one repetition, or one rep. But because that first repetition was easy, you realize you're able to lift the weight, let's say another 7 times before you put the weight down to rest. This would mean you performed another 7 repetitions, or 7 reps. So you just lifted the weight 8 total times. Remember, you lifted that weight the first time, but that was so easy, you lifted it another 7 times. 1 plus 7 equals 8. All right, so after lifting the weight 8 total times, now you're feeling tired. So you put the weights down, you shake out your shoulders, and rest for 30 seconds. We would then say that you completed 1 set of 8 shoulder presses. Another way of saying that would be you completed 1 set of 8 reps. After the 30 seconds are up, you pick the weights up again and perform the same movement, shoulder presses, another 8 times. We would now say you performed 2 sets of 8 repetitions, or 2 sets of 8 reps. If you repeated this process yet another time, we would say you completed 3 sets of 8 reps. Okay, so the American College of Sports Medicine, ACSM, says if you want to incorporate some resistance training, but don't want to get too big, then here are the reps and sets you want to aim for. They say no matter the exercise, aim for a weight that you can lift anywhere from 12 to 20 times. Another way of saying this is to find a weight that will allow you to perform 12 to 20 reps or repetitions. But you don't just perform 12 to 20 repetitions and then move on. You want to repeat this, so you do this 2 to 3 times. Or to put it another way, you want to perform 2 to 3 sets of 12 to 20 repetitions. So what you do is you lift the weight 12 to 20 times, then put the weight down and rest. This would be set number 1. ACSM recommends that if you want to incorporate some resistance training but don't want to get too big, rest for 30 seconds or less. Then grab the weight again and lift it another 12 to 20 times. This would be set number 2. And if you feel like it, pick the weight up again and lift it for another, you guessed it, 12 to 20 times. This would be set number 3. So, if you did this, you would have just performed 3 sets of 12 to 20 repetitions, or 12 to 20 reps. I hope that helped, Naomi. Now, even if someone is not too keen on building muscle, I still recommend everyone mix up their routines. So, you can follow these guidelines that I just shared with you for a while, but to keep the body guessing a bit, it's good to add and remove weight to change the number of repetitions performed. Then, mix up the sets too. Sometimes, you can just perform one set and then move on. Other times, perform 5 sets. The advantage of doing this is that by mixing things up, you may be able to prevent injury while preserving muscle, not necessarily getting too big.